Assalamu alaikum. This is me, Saira Khan, a first year medical student at Sin Medical College. I'm also an intern at Premed Marketing, MedAngle. I welcome you all to the ultimate MDCAT Webinar 2026. ये हमारी MDCAT 2026 साइकिल का पहला वेबिनार है. And if you're confused कि कहाँ से preparation start करनी है, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा, this is the right place for you. Today, we have with us speakers who are toppers in their provinces. This is a nation level MDCAT guidance webinar for you people. So before we move on to our speakers to hear what our speakers have to say, let me introduce our speakers. Okay, so we have with us Mariam Ahmed. Mariam Ahmed is currently a first-year medical student at Dow Medical College, and she secured first position in Balochistan. Her MDCAT score was 174 out of 200. Then we have with us Fuzail Khan. Fuzail Khan, he secured second position in Sindh. His MDCAT score was 174 out of 180. Then we have with us Saira Mushtaq. Saira Mushtaq, she gave MDCAT in Punjab, UHS MDCAT, and she secured 169 out of 180 marks, which is again a very good score. Lastly, we have with us Umnia Kaleem. She's from Federal and she gave Federal MDCAT. Her score was 193 out of 200, which is marvelous. These are our speakers. Now, let us move on to our first speaker without wasting any more of our time. Okay, Maryam, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Hi, Zara, I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Acha, Maryam, you scored itna acha score aapka aaya. You were the first position holder in your province. So there are some questions from my side, and I'm sure काफी सारे और भी MDCAT aspirants का होगा. How many hours in the day did you study? कितने घंटे पढ़ती थी? क्या routine थी? Can you please elaborate?
Okay, so I do believe that your studying, your schedule is not based upon the number of hours. Rather, it is based upon the target you have set for yourself. What I used to do was, मैं सुबह उठी and I had this thing in my mind. मैंने इतने MCQs करने हैं, any number of MCQs, and you have to reach your target by whatever you do, but you have to reach your target. So initially in the beginning, I had the target of around 300 to 500 MCQs, but later on, like when the MDCAT was approaching, it even was like around 700 to 800 MCQs per day. So yes, it is not the number of the hours, it's basically the number of MCQs or if you're achieving your target. Like if you are studying, like if you're surrounded by books for maybe 13 or 14 hours, and you're not retaining anything, that's of no point. So and you it also burn out हो जाता है. So I would say कि set a target for yourself and you just reach the target. अगर आपका टारगेट दिन के खत्म होने से पहले खत्म हो जाता है, so that's your day, enjoy yourself ताकि you can avoid the burnouts.
That was a very good advice. By the way, moving on to our next question, you secured first position. So many students they make a lot of mistakes. जब भी even तो सब पढ़ते हैं लेकिन वो इतना अच्छा स्कोर नहीं कर पाते. What do you think are some of the biggest mistakes जो आपने नहीं की या जो MDCAT aspirants usually कर देते हैं? What would you say about that?
Okay, so I would say कि mistakes हर कोई करता है. Like even if I look back at my journey, I must have made some mistakes. लेकिन I think the two of the major mistakes I would love to highlight at this point would be including both that people do on the day of exam and that the mistakes that are done during the preparation. So while talking about the during the preparation, so not doing enough MCQs. Agar you are just cramping through the theory, uski depths mein ja rahe ho, you remember every single line of your book, and you haven't done your MCQs. So I don't think so that's worth it. So you need to know how to tackle with MCQs. You need to know how your brain should storm during those MCQs. So the first mistake would be not doing enough MCQs and on the exam day. So see, while you're in the exam center now, so I guess those who have given their MDCAT or maybe are repeating, they know this that the MDCAT centers are no better than the worst place. And I don't know what I can say for that. But yes, वहाँ पे जितने लोग होते हैं, you have to wait, you have to walk, and you have no contact with your family, and you're frustrated because of the hours of waiting. And साथ में this thought कि oh, this paper might got leaked or something like that. So I would suggest कि appear in a lot of mock tests for that, ताकि you don't have feel that anxiousness. So yes, that's the second major issue, that people feel anxious. They start comparing themselves with others कि इतने ज़्यादा लोग हैं यहाँ पे, and how would I secure it? So yes, that was the second mistake.
Talking about the exam centers, like ऐसा होता है कि if you even if you have studied, ऐसा हो जाता है कि when you're in that exam hall, तो कुछ भी याद नहीं आ रहा होता, बहुत ज्यादा anxious feel कर रहे होते हैं students. So how did you manage your exam pressure, especially जैसे जैसे exam करीब आ रहा होता है, तो बहुत ज्यादा घबराहट होती है. So how did you deal with that?
Okay, so first of all, as I mentioned earlier, don't compare yourself with anyone, whether it be your sister, your brother, your junior, senior, or classmate, or even if you're seeing a doctor, a USMLE aspirant, or someone who are telling their stories कि मैंने ऐसा किया था, please, please, please don't compare yourself, because you're an individual who will who will learn through the process, and you will reach your milestones accordingly. Don't compare yourself. अगर you are aware of this point कि oh, I am an individual, I have my own process, I have my own base, तब I guess you can handle the pressure easily.
Thank you so much for the wonderful advice. Also, Mariam, there's this another question which is especially important for MDCAT aspirants of Balochistan. Like you're in Dow Medical College now. Dow Medical College is in Karachi. So what about the students in Balochistan? अगर कोई बलूचिस्तान से apply करना चाह रहा है कराची या किसी और medical college में, what is the process for that? How did you reach here? Can you please guide students about that, please?
Okay. Uh, for Balochistan students, there are two ways to get into medical colleges of other provinces. One of them is simple, like other provinces. We have to give MDCAT, then we have a priority list, and we are given the names of the colleges all across Pakistan, and we have to arrange them in the priority list of 10. Uh, an other pathway that a student of Balochistan or and also the student of FATA can follow, that would be through HEC. So once you are done with your MDCAT, usually HEC test in the month of December or in November. So once you're done with your MDCAT and you have cleared it, you are eligible to give the HEC test. It is also a 100 marks paper, and they give seats according to your merit. वहाँ पे district wise नहीं होता. And वहाँ पे again there are number of seats for Dow International and other colleges all across Pakistan. What you have to remember is कि जो HEC की seats हैं, they are paid by HEC. So you don't have to pay anything, even if it is DIMC. So that thing, and another important thing would be if you are applying through for MDCAT or BMC के through apply कर लेते हो and you get the seat, so you're not eligible for HEC. So if you want to apply for those colleges, so keep in mind that you have to avoid applying there first. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mariam. Honestly, your advices were great. Especially about HEC scholarship, even I didn't know about that. So I think जिसने भी session attend किया होगा आज, they will definitely gain a lot of um, things from here. Okay, moving on to our next slide. Okay, guys, we have these
Okay.
resources. Mariam will be covering her part here.
So I wanted to talk about the resources so badly. So okay, hear me out, everyone. Your resources matter the most because देखो पढ़ता हर कोई है, but not everyone gets into a college. Because I think thousands of students appear in MDCAT, but only a small portion gets into the medical colleges or dental colleges. So उसका reason है to get a good resource, and once you get a good resource, so maybe don't try switching a lot of resources. Once you get a good resource and you're like, okay, I got it, I got one. So you build the concept. Now you have to practice MCQs. For this, MedAngle Premed.net.pk brings these amazing resources. They give pocket books for all the provinces. You can build the concepts, and once you're done, so here are the MCQs. And the best thing, they're free. You can just go through the past papers, the mock exams, and also the topical MCQs, and they're just perfect.
Thank you so much, Maryam. Thank you so much for talking about the right resources. That is very important. हम सबको पता है. Moving on to our next speaker, we have with us Fuzail Ashraf Khan. Fuzail, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Acha, Fuzail secured second position among them. He appeared in MDCAT this year, and his score was 174 out of 180. सिर्फ 6 MCQs गलत हुए, which is honestly, mashallah. Okay, so Fuzail, I have some questions for you. As you're the topper of Sanna, so how do we become a topper? What are those strategies which help you become a topper?
So I would say the difference between a topper and a good scorer in MDCAT is कि good scorer has the concepts, he has those values in mind, but एक topper के पास crystal clear concepts होते हैं and a very clear understanding of the topics. So you should know the reasons behind and logic behind things. Like अगर कोई चीज़ की anomaly है, अगर कोई चीज़ exception है, so there is a reason why it is an exception. So you should know the things, reasons behind it. And then I would say try to connect the facts and figures of a topic with each other because it really helps in remembering those things. रादर कि आप हर चीज़ का रट्टा लगाओ, सो इन दी एंड वो उसमें चांसेस होते हैं कि दैट यू कैन मिक्स अप थिंग्स. सो ट्राई टू कनेक्ट दीज थिंग्स विद ईच अदर एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स डू नॉट स्टिक टू जस्ट वन रिसोर्स. आप किसी एक रिसोर्स पे, किसी एक टीचर पे अपना फुल भरोसा नहीं करें कि ये मेरा MCAT क्लियर करवा देगा, but just go out and explore more resources, try to gain as much knowledge as possible. And but the resource of prime importance should be your provincial textbooks. Like for my case, the SIN textbook board, you should give it a read, I would say around 5 to 6 times. Like मैंने अपनी पूरी जर्नी में उस 5 से 6 बार अपनी प्रोविंशियल बुक्स को पढ़ा है, सिन टेक्स्ट बुक्स को. तो मैं ये कह सकता हूँ कि जब भी मैं उसको अपनी बुक को एक रीड देता था, तो देयर वाज नॉट अ टाइम कि मुझे कोई ऐसी चीज़ ना मिले जो कि मैं पिछली बार मिस आउट कर चुका हूँ. सो एवरी टाइम आई फाउंड समथिंग न्यू जो कि मैंने मिस आउट की थी. So I think you should read your provincial books as much as possible, and then after preparing a chapter, you should go to the chapter wise MCQs. And जो भी आपकी mistakes हों, आप उनको एक जगह list down कर लो ताकि in the last month you के कॉन्सेप्ट्स ऑलरेडी आपके जो क्वेश्चन ठीक होंगे, तो जो कॉन्सेप्ट्स आपको अंडरस्टूड हो गए तो वो और स्ट्रेंथन हो जाएंगे. लास्टली मैं ये कहूँगा कि डोंट स्किप द FLP सेशंस और द मॉक सेशंस जो कि कोचिंग्स में हो रहे होते हैं. अगर तो आप किसी कोचिंग में इनरोल नहीं भी हो, तो दे आर अपॉर्चुनिटीज वेयर आप किसी भी कोचिंग का मॉक सेशन ज्वाइन कर सकते हो एज एन आउटसाइडर. सो उससे ये हेल्प होती है कि एक तो टाइम मैनेजमेंट, लाइक 180 मिनट्स में 180 MCQs करने होते हैं फॉर माई केस, तो एक टाइम मैनेज करना आता है. एंड उसके अलावा एक जो एग्जाम हॉल के कंडीशंस होती हैं, वर्क का इन्वायरमेंट, सो आप उससे भी थोड़ा फ्रेंडली हो जाते हो, उससे भी थोड़ा अवेयर हो जाते हो.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Fuzail. Honestly,
That's it.
best advices हैं ये, और especially if it's coming from a topper, then you know कि उसने खुद भी इस चीज पे work किया है. So, Fuzail, I know that you're from A levels background ना. So this is a question जो खाली मेरा नहीं है, बल्कि हमारे सारे जितने भी MDCAT aspirants हैं उन सबका है. How does MDCAT differ for an A level student and an intermediate student? किसके लिए कितना आसान है, क्या differences होते हैं?
सो आई वुड से कि ए लेवल्स के स्टूडेंट के लिए डेफिनेटली थोड़ा बहुत तो हार्ड होता ही है MCAT, बिकॉज जो सिलेबस हमें MCAT के लिए कवर अप करना है, जो बुक्स हैं, जो रिसोर्सेज हैं, वो हमारे लिए कम्प्लीटली न्यू है. लाइक एक इंटरमीडिएट का स्टूडेंट वही बुक्स, वही रिसोर्सेज ऑलरेडी अपने फर्स्ट या सेकेंड ईयर में यूज करता आ रहा है. सो ही नोज द कंटेंट इन दोज बुक्स, इन दोज सिलेबस, ही इज प्रिटी अवेयर ऑफ देम. बट एज अ ए लेवल स्टूडेंट, हमारी रिसोर्सेज, हमारी जो सिलेबस है, हमारी अप्रोच, दैट इज कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट एंड इररेलेवेंट फॉर MDCAT. सो हमें वही सेम सिलेबस एक इंटरमीडिएट स्टूडेंट जो कि मोर देन 2 years में कवर अप करता है, वही हमें लेस देन अ ईयर में कवर अप करना है. So that seems like a huge gap at first when you start your preparation, और लगता है कि शायद ये गैप कभी फिल हो नहीं पाएगा. बट अगर आप अपनी प्रिपरेशन को ऑन टाइम स्टार्ट करें, लाइक फॉर मी, आई स्टार्ट माई प्रिपरेशन इन नवंबर 2024. ऑलमोस्ट आई हैड एन ईयर. सो इस 1 year में आई हैड द टाइम टू फिल अप दैट गैप. एंड आई थिंक एट द लास्ट मंथ बिफोर MDCAT, तो आई डोंट थिंक मेरे और एक गुड इंटरमीडिएट स्टूडेंट की नॉलेज में कोई फर्क था, एंड वी वर ऑन द सेम पेज.
Yeah, totally agreed. Even as an intermediate student, I totally agree with your points. Okay, Fuzail, you're the topper now. So, what about your social life? कैसे manage करते हो? कैसे social life manage की हुई है? कैसे studies के साथ साथ लेके चल रहे हो? Can you please tell us about your social life a bit?
सोशल लाइफ, आई वुड से कि आपको अपनी प्रायोरिटीज तो सेट करनी ही पड़ेंगी, बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स आपको कुछ गेन करना है तो थोड़ी बहुत सेक्रीफाइसेस तो करनी पड़ेंगी अपनी लाइफ में. और जो आपकी एक अननेसेसरी थिंग्स हैं, आपको उनको कट ऑफ करना पड़ेगा अपनी लाइफ से. और लाइक जब आपकी प्रायोरिटी MCAT प्रिपरेशन बनती है, तो नेट आपके पास दिन में इतना टाइम बचता नहीं है फॉर दोज अननेसेसरी थिंग्स, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली ही आपकी लाइफ से कट आउट हो जाएंगी. उसके अलावा आई वुड से कि आप अपना सोशल मीडिया को रिस्ट्रिक्ट करें. लाइक पर्सनली मैंने ऐप टाइमर्स यूज़ किए थे फॉर दैट टू रिस्ट्रिक्ट माई दोस यूजेज. एंड उसके अलावा इससे कि अगर आप अपना टाइम और अपनी स्टडीज़ को डे 1 से मैनेज करके चलें, सो यू गेट प्लेंटी ऑफ टाइम फॉर योर फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिलीज. एंड जो आपके इंपॉर्टेंट फंक्शंस हैं, गैदरिंग्स हैं, आप उनको ज़रूर अटेंड करें, उनको मिस आउट नहीं करें. क्योंकि एक तो उनसे ये फ़ायदा है कि आपका माइंड रिफ्रेश होगा, देन आपका जो थोड़ा बहुत स्ट्रेस है वो भी रिलीव होता है. And you cannot isolate yourself for 1 year for your preparation, so you need to have some social life.
Talking about the social life, I'm very curious about the co-curricular activities. Like, did you participate in any co-curricular activities? कोई hobbies वगैरह इस तरह की चीजें? Because people just assume कि topper है तो बस पढ़ ही रहा होगा. So would you please tell us about co-curricular activities and your growth in life?
I would say कि co-curricular activities की were very limited in my MDCAT period, जो कि ये last 1 year था of my A2 और एक intermediate student के लिए उसका second year plus MDCAT. तो इस year में बहुत सारी studies थी, तो for the last year co-curricular growth was very limited. But after MDCAT, I have plenty of time, so I can do these things now. Like personally, मेरे पास I have the opportunity to speak publicly, which was always something that I avoided. But now I have the time, I have those opportunities, so that is something of my personal gain.
Also, there's this another question that I want to ask. अब कैसी लाइफ जा रही है? You told me about your busy schedule, कब से preparation start किया and all that. But now that you have finally reached that point, उस चीज को achieve कर लिया है, how's your life now? कैसे लोग आपको differently treat करते हैं? क्या होता है? कैसा होता है टॉपर बनके?
So life obviously it feels great, amazing, because अब इतने एक काफी लंबा continuous study period था, O levels, A levels, then MDCAT. So अब वो सब खत्म, no studies, just tension free. So it obviously feels great, but फैमिली प्राउड है. एंड जो फेलो जूनियर्स हैं वो रीच आउट करते हैं फॉर गाइडेंस, एंड तो उनको भी हेल्प करके, उनको मेंटर करके भी अच्छा लगता है. एंड उसके अलावा आई वुड से कि जिस स्टेज पे हम कुछ महीने पहले थे, तो नाउ आई सी अदर स्टूडेंट्स ऑन दैट सेम स्टेज, सो इट फील्स ग्रेट टू हेल्प देम आउट. बिकॉज जितने ज़्यादा उनकी प्रॉब्लम्स को हम समझ सकते हैं एज अ फ्रेश, आई वुड से फ्रेश MDCAT जिन्होंने दिया है, सो कोई और उनको इतना हेल्प आउट नहीं कर सकता. सो इट फील्स ग्रेट. और जो भी दोस्त नाउ गेटिंग इनटू माय ड्रीम मेडिकल कॉलेज, सो डाउ, सो आई थिंक जो भी वो हार्डशिप्स थी एंड दो स्लीपलेस नाइट्स, एवरीथिंग इज नाउ वर्थ इट.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. Everything is now worth it. That is the motivation that should keep you going. Okay, thank you so much, Faisal, for giving us your time today. Let us now move to our next slide. अच्छा guys, आप सबने मरियम को सुना, फुजैल को सुना. Both of them suggested you people that you practice as much as you can. जितने FLP solve कर सको उतने करो. Let me tell you a free resource जिसके बारे में मरियम ने भी बताया था. We have a very big question bank on our website, premed.net.pk. My personally favorite feature is the timer feature, जो आपको बताता है कि आपको एक क्वेश्चन में कितना टाइम लगा सॉल्व करने में. The explanation feature, अगर आपने एक MCQ गलत सॉल्व किया या सही सॉल्व किया, they will tell you why you did that wrong, and if you put correct answer आपने चूज किया तो वो क्यों सही था. All these features are on the website for free, completely free, no hidden charges at all. We have past papers, a feature to keep a track of your performance as well. So please do check that out. Do check out the website and solve as much as MCQs as you can for free on our website, premed.dan.pk. Now let us move to our next speaker. Okay, we have with us Saira Mushtaq. Saira Mushtaq gave the UHS MDCAT and she scored 169 out of 180. A marvelous score indeed. Assalamu alaikum, Saira. Saira.
Hello, walaikum assalam. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. कैसी हैं आप?
Alhamdulillah, ठीक.
Okay, Saira, you're an FSC student, right? तो मैं सोच रही थी, what is the difference between FSC के notes and MDCAT के notes? What's the difference? People just assume कि वो same है, but please elaborate.
There is a crucial difference between the MDCAT students' notes and FSC students' notes, but the thing is that since you're transitioning from FSC to MDCAT, a lot of students be like, isn't it the same because the content is same? But I think there's a huge difference because the FSC is more about subjective type questions and straightforward to the point answers. But MDCAT is more like the incorporated information, the application of those concepts and everything. So I think that your notes should be like that. It should be neat, organized, and the major thing is the only thing that goes on your notes should be the thing that is new to you or the information you couldn't process or was tough for you. I think that's the only thing that should be on your notes. And the other thing that a lot of students think is like shortcut formulas are the major thing, and I need to know about those things and I'm gonna memorize them. I think that's a stupid thought because the shortcut formulas are coming from the main formulas, and you need to understand the both formulas. Instead of memorizing the shortcuts, you should do the connection thing, like understand the connection between them and process the information. Then you'll be able to make that shortcut formula on your own. So I think that's important. Instead of just writing them down and memorizing them, understand them. That's the most important thing. And don't write the things which are supposed to be memorized because they are already in your notes or provincial books. So the things that you didn't understand or there was a new information, that's the only thing that should be on your MDCAT notes.
Yeah, totally agreed. Notes organized होना ज़रूरी है. I personally loved using highlighters. अच्छा, Saira, you told me about कि कुछ बच्चे क्या करते हैं, small या short formulas लिख देते हैं, वो पीछे पूरा derivation check नहीं करते. So, what are some do's and don'ts that you should do and you should avoid while preparing for MDCAT?
I think the don'ts would be the consistency. The important thing is that it's a long journey and you need to be consistent with your efforts. So consistency is the most important thing. Then practicing those concepts is very, very important, as my former speakers has already told. It's something like you understood the concept, you memorized everything, but you don't really know how to solve the questions because you don't really know how they're going to ask the question. So I think you need to practice those questions, and that's the most important thing. The other thing is understanding and analyzing your weak spots. I think that's very, very important because a lot of students just do things, and when they're revising the things, they're going to revise the whole chapter and the whole topic instead of just focusing on the the weak parts. आप जब रिवाइज कर रहे हो तो आपको जरूरत नहीं है कि आप वो चीजें भी रिवाइज करो जो आपको ऑलरेडी आती हैं, जो क्वेश्चंस आपने ऑलरेडी ठीक किए थे. You have to go with the things you got wrong, and for that I would recommend that you note those questions on a separate register or something so that you know that these are my weak points, so you can revise them over the time. So do's include these, and the important thing is the time management. You need to understand that too. So do timed tests and give mocks and do FLPs and everything. The preparation should be like you are appearing in an MDCAT test. So your exams should be, your tests should be like that. And for the don'ts, I think the students using a lot of resources. Using a lot of resources is not a bad thing. You need to know a lot of information from MDCAT, but I think that instead of cluttering your brain with the whole information, you need to go with more something like, layering that information. अगर आप पहली दफा पढ़ रहे हो तो आप एक specific kind of notes के साथ चल रहे हो जो कि आपको है कि verified है. अब वो पढ़ो. But the next time you're revising something, okay, you can use another notes, something like that. Then the notes that you use for the second time is more like the kind of a revision. The information you already knew, it was like revised information. Now the information you got new is actual information that your brain is picking up at a time. So I think it's easier for your brain to process that information instead of just having all the information at the same time. So layer your information, your resources should be layered instead of just taking everything at the same time. Don'ts should be those. And another thing which a lot of students do is that asking a lot of seniors or your classmates even that how you're doing something. And when they get some kind of advice like, yeah, I did something like this, or ये मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा रहा और इसके बाद मेरा result बहुत अच्छा आ रहा है, but you just abandon your whole thing after that. Like, yeah, that thing worked for someone else, so I'm gonna stop doing everything my way and I'm gonna start doing this because that certain thing helped them. I think it's really wrong because that helped them, not you. It's not necessarily like that. So instead of just abandoning your whole technique and stuff like that, go with your own stuff. Do incorporate some tips and tricks from other people, but do your own things instead of following everyone else.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Also, you talked about the study resources, right? So what are some resources that you recommend?
Any online resource, I think I would recommend them, like the MedAngle. It's a really nice app, actually. I really like that. The resources, including the guidebooks, like the having the all information piled up in the same place, you can just go through that and you know all the information. Then the important thing, and which I really liked, was the learning list, which was a well organized tool for the revision. And I think that was something you can go through and revise the whole topic in some minutes, like half an hour or something. But I think that's one of the most important resources, and I would recommend that.
Yeah, I totally agreed. We also have learning lesson guidebooks in our Drive link, which are completely free. So please do check them out. Also, talking about the consistency, जब do's and don'ts की बात की थी, तो आपने consistency की बात की थी. तो ऐसी क्या motivation थी जिसने आपको inspire किया? What inspired you to be consistent?
Maybe that determination is something like that. Okay, since I'm doing something, why not put a lot of effort, like all effort I can put? So at least I won't regret at the end of the day. So let's just do something properly, meaningfully, and sincerely, so that I won't have to regret, like, oh yeah, thoda sa reh gaya, mujhe thoda kar lena chahiye tha. I think that's something very, very, very important. You don't have to regret something after something is done. So maybe that was the determination that kept me going.
Thank you so much, Saira, for your honest responses. इतनी अच्छी advices नहीं. Thank you so much. Even they helped me as a math student. मुझे काफी अच्छी लगी. Okay, thank you so much, Saira. Also, guys, now let us move on to our next slide. अच्छा, we talked about the MCQs, but did I tell you कि हमारे पास topical wise MCQs हैं? On our website, not only you can solve MCQs past papers वगैरह, you can solve MCQs topic wise. Like अगर कॉलेज में किस टीचर ने बायोलॉजिकल मॉलिक्यूल्स पढ़ाए, घर आके you can solve those MCQs topic wise कि आपने बायोलॉजिकल मॉलिक्यूल्स के MCQ solve किए. This helps a lot. Also, we have premed.blog. This blog, all these toppers से जैसे advices होते हैं, अभी हम webinar इसी चीज़ का कह रहे हैं. All these things are already available on our website, premed.blog, written by toppers themselves, और एक एक चीज़ से related, हर scenario से related आपको मिल जाएगा. So please do check them out as well. You can write premed.blog and you'll be directed to our website. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our next speaker. And the last speaker, we have with us Umnia Kaleem. Umnia Kaleem gave the federal MDCAT and her score was 193 out of 200, which is a very good score, mashallah. So hello, assalamu alaikum Umnia.
Walaikum salam.
कैसी हैं आप?
I'm good.
Okay, Umnia, I'm going to ask you some questions. अभी इतने सारे speakers ने इतनी अच्छी advices दी, but I want you to point them out कि कौन सी common mistakes हैं जो students करते हैं जो उनको MDCAT में अच्छा score लेने से रोकती हैं.
So, the very first thing I would emphasize on, which the previous speakers also said, that comparison is the thief of joy, and it will also kill your motivation. So, do not compare yourself with other students that are in your academy or in your class or who are studying with you. I think that everyone has a different pace and a different way to cope with things and a different study pattern. So, thinking about your friends, if they study really fast and you can't keep up that pace, I don't think you should fall into a complex. I think you should keep up with your own pace and do things at your own pace. Um, and secondly, I think that the having the right kind of guidance is really important. And the first time I gave MDCAT and then I could not get admission that time, and then I had to take a gap year. The first time I did not have the right guidance. I think that I did not know how important it was to practice MCQs. I did not know how to study the textbooks because studying for MDCAT is really different from studying for your A levels or intermediate exams. I did not know that. So I think that you should find the right kind of guidance. You should look for seniors, you should look for guidance groups. I believe MedAngle also has guidance groups. You can join guidance groups and they're really helpful. And I think too many resources, like Saira said, they are also not that good because uh, you should pick one resource and then उसको आप तोड़ तक पहुंच जाए मतलब if you get into too many resources, there's many guidebooks, there's many question banks available, but the questions are the same. If you get jumbled up with all the resources and I think you'll get really confused, and especially for freshers, you only have 3 months. So you can't study every guidebook. You can't do all the questions, right? So you have to do the right ones and the ones that suit you, obviously. And I actually was the first time I was giving the MDCAT, I was giving the federal MDCAT, but I was studying from the Punjab board textbook, which was really wrong. Obviously, I should have studied from the federal board textbook. So I think you should follow your provincial textbooks first, and then for if you have additional time, you should follow other textbooks. These are some mistakes that I made that I think could have improved my first attempt.
Okay, talking about gap years and first attempts, I would like to ask you, you went on a gap year, right? So, आपने कैसे manage किया अपना gap year? What was it like for you?
Okay, so firstly, whenever almost all the students who have to take a gap year are the ones who could not get admission into any medical college or the medical college of their choice, right? So you are very demoralized actually, and you are in a spiral of self-doubt that would I even make it the next time? I think you should first work on your mindset. You should actually get out of that self-doubt. You should think of it this way that if I work hard and if I put in the effort, why would I not get what I want? There's no way that if you work hard and you wouldn't get your desired results. So I think um, find the right kind of space of mind and then start your preparation. After your first attempt, you should probably take a break of at least 2 months and find something nice to do, go and get into your hobbies again, and then start studying again. And for my study strategy during gap year, I actually did a whole overview of the whole year first. I divided the whole year into blocks. Uh, so the first block would be approximately 2 months where you actually cover the whole syllabus thoroughly and do MCQ practice according to the chapters. You cover a chapter and then you practice MCQs for that. That will take 2 months if you do it thoroughly. And then the next block would be the revision block where you would focus more on practicing and less on the knowledge part. And then as many revisions required, depends upon the amount of time you have, I guess. Um, Start your revisions. So divide your year into blocks and then, work on that.
Okay, talking
And
about
I think during gap year, I'm sorry. I think during gap year, the a better way would be to take breaks because 365 days is a long time and you can't be studying every day of the year. So take breaks whenever you need and don't burn yourself out, I guess.
okay, so you told us about how you divided the whole year into blocks now. So what about study hours? Because some people are more active at night. They're night owls. कुछ लोग early risers होते हैं. So what are the ideal study hours for an MDCAT aspirant in your opinion?
Um, so in my opinion, I myself was most of the year I was a night owl. I could not wake up early, but then for some of the time I did have to wake up early, so I had to change my routine. But everyone has a different routine. I would recommend find out your peak hours, find out where you perform best. Um, during my early rising days, I was actually very active during 6 to 8 a.m., I would say. Those were like my peak hours. So I would use those 2 hours for the most demanding target of the day. And then during the afternoon at around 2 to 4 p.m., that would be like the laziest time of my day. So I would dedicate that to, just solving MCQs and just marking the MCQs that I got wrong. And after that, I'd take a break in the evening, and then the after the break, I would actually go through the ones that I got wrong. So this is how you could manage your day.
Okay. Asha, there's this one last question from you. Thank you so much, Umnia, for the amazing advices. I wanted to ask you कि जैसे जैसे एग्जाम करीब आ रहा होता है तो एक स्ट्रेस होता है जो आपको पढ़ने नहीं देता, स्पेशली द एग्जाम हॉल का जो स्ट्रेस होता है. So how do you deal with that?
I think before the exam and the days leading up to the exam, you should talk to a friend. That's my strategy. Like if I'm really anxious, I would call my friend and friends that are in the same situation as you, or maybe even talk to your siblings and divert your attention from your studies. That's what I did to actually alleviate the anxiety or the stress. And in the exam hall, I know it gets very daunting inside the exam hall. It's very difficult to not think about कि ओ ये तो इसको तो देख के लग रहा है इसको सब आता है. That's what I kept thinking in the exam hall. But I think you should think positive thoughts. And inside the exam hall, when you're waiting for the exam to be given to you, you should actually think about how you've studied so much and how much practice questions that you did and how many tests, full length papers and mock tests that you solved. I think you should think about your preparation and you should be confident in your own preparation that I have worked hard, so I think I can ace this exam. Think positive thoughts. That really helps during the time in exam hall.
Yeah, totally agreed. The key to be confident in your exam is to be fully prepared. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Umnia, for such real tips and tricks for everyone, especially for gap year students. I'm sure जो भी यहाँ पे gap year के students होंगे, they will learn a lot from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also, let us move to our next slide. Guys, every speaker, every single topper from every province, they told you about the right resources. They told you about practicing as much as you can. Practice makes men and women both perfect. So practice MCQs as much as you can, and also please try करें कि आप free resources पे रहें. We have a lot of questions on our website. Topical MCQs not only for single board, हर board के लिए हर board से concepts निकाल के we have a very good question bank, and it is completely free. Emphasizing on the free part. So this is how you can access the MCQs. premed.net.pk. You can make your account, write down this code. Premed is free, and you will access thousands of questions for free. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, yeah, like Umnia talked about the guidance groups. We have guidance groups on our WhatsApp. एक AQ गाइडेंस का, एक MDCAT 26 गाइडेंस का है. यहाँ पे हमारे पास सीनियर्स भी होते हैं आपके जैसे और MDCAT एस्पिरेंट्स होंगे. सो यू कैन जस्ट गिव योर क्वेश्चंस इन द WhatsApp ग्रुप. वहाँ पे आपको हेल्प करने के लिए लोग आ जाएंगे. And honestly, you can find your study partners as well. So please do join these groups to access the resources and connect with like-minded individuals like you. Okay, so thank you so much. We wish you all the best for your MDCAT, and yeah, everything is there. You just have to access it. Thank you so much.